Apart from the well-known classic Microsoft Office applications that are probably installed on your computer, there are quite a lot of others available as web applications. You will not find them in your Start menu, but you can access them through Microsoft's websites. Microsoft Forms is one of such applications and is perfect for creating surveys, quizzes, and polls in minutes. This can be a great tool both for gathering opinions during work meetings as well as conducting quizzes and tests in schools. In this video, we will provide a high-level overview of this application and will dive into more details in future videos. To access Microsoft Forms, you have to either go to forms.office.com in your web browser or open the Microsoft 365 application on your computer and there click on New Form. Clicking on the New Form button in the Microsoft 365 application will also open a new browser tab to access Forms through the web. If you aren't signed into your Microsoft account, you will be requested to do it. When creating a new form, you will first see a very simplistic interface. Your form will already be created for you and waiting to be given a title. Type in your title in the Untitled Form field. You can also provide a description of your form and even pick a picture to illustrate your form and be shown in the form header. Below you see the Add New button. Use this button to add questions to your form. When you click on Add New, Forms will display several options for you to choose. A choice response question, a text response question, a rating response question, and a data question. Behind the drop-down arrow, you will get some more alternatives: ranking, Likert, and Net Promoter Score. Additionally, you'll be able to add a new section to your form. Let's start with the choice response question. When you pick this alternative, Forms will create a new question with two possible answers, which are called options here. Just fill in your question and two possible answers. If you want to have more possible answers to your questions, just click on Add Option Question. You can also add Other Option. By default, users responding to the survey will only be allowed to select one answer, but if you move the slider next to multiple answers to the right, then it will be possible to provide more than one answer. You can also decide whether this question is to be required or if users will be able to skip it when responding to your survey. There are many more options available to customize your questions, but we will cover them in a separate video. Let's add a question with a different type of response. If you pick a text response question, you will again be able to define your question, but the answer part will only be covered by one text field, allowing the respondents to your survey to type free text. Apart from defining whether the question should be treated as required, you can also decide whether long answers should be allowed. Users will be able to type in quite a lot of text even if this option is not selected, but all the text will be shown within one line, making it very difficult to read. Selecting the long answer option makes the text box bigger, thus making it easier to read longer responses. The rating response question allows you to create a question to which the user is supposed to respond by marking the number of stars or other symbols of your choice. The higher the number marked, the higher is the assessment. By default, Forms proposes a 5-level ranking marked with stars, but you can change the number of levels to a number between 2 and 10 and pick between 10 different symbols of your ranking. As with other types of questions, you can also define whether this question is to be required or not. The date question is a simple question where the respondents are supposed to respond with a date. When responding, users can enter the date manually, or they can click on the calendar icon to pick the data with the date picker. The ranking response question is an interesting alternative if you want to get your respondents' preferences from multiple alternatives at once. To create a ranking response question, you will have to click on the drop-down arrow next to the list of question types and pick ranking there. Similarly to the choice response question, you will get some alternative answers prepared for you and you'll be able to add additional options. However, when users respond to this question, they will not be able to select any answers, but they will instead be able to shuffle all the options around to sort them according to their preference. The Likert response question is perhaps the most complicated type both for creators of surveys but also for respondents, so please be careful with this type of questions. Likert questions allow you to get responses about preferences for multiple statements within one question. By default, forms will create a question with 2 statements and 5 options, but you can extend the number of both statements and options to 20 statements and 7 options. Users responding to this type of questions will be able to mark their preferences by ranking each statement. The Net Promoter Score is a question following the NPS methodology under the registered trademark of NPS. Adding a question of this type results in a proposal following the methodology, how likely are you to recommend, and a scale from 0 to 10. You can customize the question itself and then not at all likely and extreme likely options. When you are ready with your survey, you can preview it. This will allow you to see how your survey looks on a computer and on a mobile device. Finally, when you are ready, click on Collect Responses. This will open a new dialog with various sharing options. The most frequently used is the one with a link. Just click on Copy Link and paste it into an email to send it to your colleagues for responses. You can also create an email directly from here if you click on the invitation button. There is also a possibility to generate a QR code that will link to your survey, as well as an HTML snippet with an iframe that you can embed in your web page code. Finally, you can also share your form on Facebook or X. Please note that Microsoft still has the old Twitter icon and name here. When you have gotten responses to your survey, you can view them by clicking on Responses in the upper part of the screen. Microsoft Form will present responses to each question in the form of a table, chart or list, depending on the type of the question. You can also export all the responses to Excel for further analysis. Just click on Open in Excel. We hope that this video has given you a good overview of how you can create surveys with Microsoft Forms. There are other things you can do with forms, and we will cover them in future videos. Be sure to check our other videos to learn more about Microsoft Forms and other Office applications.